So in the intro video, we talked about my son taking a class and kind of missing 100% mark because he didn't quite nail his audience. So to dive deep into how to teach your kids to write or how to give them excellent writing skills, we're going to be talking about the 3 no-nos of writing. The very first one is know the purpose of whatever writing that you're hoping that your child is going to master. But I don't want you to forget the magic word. Kids want to have fun. And the idea of filling a piece of paper with words is not most kids' ideas of fun. Now, I do know a few kids out there that absolutely love to write. I happen to have been one of them. I am never more content than when I have a blank piece of paper and some sharpened pencils and some coloring things and just let me put my ideas on paper. Not all kids are like that. So the purpose. Kids need to understand that not all writing is for the same reason. Some writing is just for our own benefit. We write down lists of things to help us remember. We write stories to entertain. We jot down things that we want to tell people about later. The purpose of writing is to inform, to educate, to entertain, to argue, or just for plain old fun. So right here in the beginning, I want you to understand that teaching a child writing skills takes time. Don't frustrate your kids by giving them a blank piece of paper and ask them to write about and then fill in the blank. It doesn't matter how much they love soccer or Legos or ballet or snow. Write about it is not their idea of fun. So instead, this is where we get to use our secret sauce. We get to cheat a little bit. We want to inspire our kids to write without emphasizing the fact that they're writing. And the reason we do that, especially if they're younger or if they're hesitant writers, they've had zero success because all they see is blank paper and they don't know what to write about. We want to cheat and we want to get them to laugh. We want to engage with them in an exchange of ideas, and we want to help them write down words or ideas that they can then infuse into their writing. And so one of my very favorite things to do is to give kids a funny writing prompt, and it can be in the form of a funny picture. So, and I know my camera's backwards, but that's okay. So you show the kids a funny picture, and there are a bunch of them. In the description, I have a link that you can get a copy of this one as a tester, and if your kids love it, then it links to the actual full bundle of, I forget, there's plenty of writing prompts to keep you busy for weeks and weeks on end. Because what you do is the very first thing is you look at the picture together and you laugh. That's it. Step number 1. Easy. If these pictures, I specifically chose them of animals doing quirky, weird things, or being like, there's a giraffe with big old huge red lips, super funny. It's one of my favorite pictures. But just to enjoy the picture together. And then the way that these prompts are set up is they have in 3 different sections. So you laugh, you're going to fill a word bank, but there's prompts to get you started. And then you're going to start to write or be a secretary. So you show the child a picture and you laugh. And then you brainstorm. Well, that was a picture of, do we know what kind of a bird that is? Do we know what kind of specific owl that is? How would you describe that owl's head? What is the owl covered with? What kind of attitude do you think that owl has? So I have starter words in there for you of owl, cocked, stared, peaked, and feathers. And then your idea with a prompt like this is to brainstorm other things that the child thinks of as they look at that picture. Now, this is very important. Listen to me. There are no wrong answers. If they look at that owl and they think basketball, then you just write down basketball. And this is also very important. You be the secretary at this point until they really buy into this idea. You be the food, the food. You on my phone and my screen went away. You be the secretary. Super important. That way they don't associate writing with cramped hands, that kind of stuff. And you think about everything that you can, any word, any attitude, any goofy, funny thing that could have happened to that owl that would make it do what it's doing in the picture. Did it just see another owl go by with no feathers? So you might have the word naked. Did it just hear its parent tell them to go clean up their nest? And then it gives a funny, okay, so you brainstorm. That's day one. You put the pencil away, you put the paper away, and you set it aside. Understanding writing takes time. We need to model that with our kids so we don't cram and rush the writing process with our children. So we laugh, we brainstorm, we let it sit. As it's sitting, your child is going to be thinking about it. If you're lucky, you'll actually hear or see an owl in real life. You can go to the library and you can read books about owls. You can watch, serendipitously, you can watch a movie that has owls in or a documentary. The next day, you present that paperback again, and you're going to use the words from the word bank to create something in words. It could be a master list of animal traits of that particular animal. It could be a silly story. It could be a poem, a song. But the idea is that you take the words from the word bank and you write something out, okay? And all these are in there. And then you, when it's all said and done, you let it sit again, ideally. You really want each step of the writing process to sit for a day. So you write something creatively together. I have 5 kids, and one of my kids in particularly, we call him the gentle giant. He was always in the 105th percentile body-wise, and that meant his fine motor skills were always behind where everybody else on the planets were. So I was his personal secretary whenever he was creative writing, because his body couldn't keep speed with his ideas. And so it did him zero disservice for me to actually write these things down for him. Instead, it unlocked his creativity and gave him the freedom to actually concentrate on the ideas and the thoughts and the action and how to pull in all his senses. And then the next day, we could use those ideas and expand them and edit them, and then he could practice his penmanship on the 3rd or 4th day. So the idea behind knowing the purpose behind the writing is to show your kids that writing can be enjoyable. It's not all facts and figures. It's not all informational texts. It's not all business. Some of it's just plain fun. So I would encourage you to embrace fun for the first season in your child's writing career, while practicing saying the things. In order to write well, we need to concentrate on the 3 no-nos of writing. We need to know the purpose. Why are we writing this down on paper? We need to understand the audience. Who is going to see it? Is it just going to be mom? Is it going to be dad? Is it a teacher, a grandparent, a neighbor, just yourself? And is there any specialized language? That's that brainstorming part. That's the finding the words that describe what is in that picture. Does that make sense? So in this video, we talked about how to teach your child a writing skill, but we're focusing on the purpose of writing. Why are we writing it? Through the filter of making it fun. So does that make sense? So in the next video, we're going to be talking about, I'm looking at my notes, we're going to be talking about the audience. How do you narrow in on your audience so that you're writing in an excellent way? So I will see you